From an early age, we are conditioned to associate food with love and reward. Just think about breastfeeding, which is the strongest physical bond between mother and child, where the child gets food but at the same time protection, affection, love, and comfort. Even beyond that, the act of giving food is one of the strongest symbols of love between parents and child for many years to come. We then learn to use food to celebrate personal achievements, to symbolize special occasions or festivities. Our parents may have used treats as rewards or as bargaining chip. You can watch TV if you finish your broccoli. You can't have dessert if you don't eat your fish first. Or, you behaved really well today, you deserved an ice cream. And by the way, never do this with your own kids, because they learn to use food to achieve goals instead of satisfying hunger, which increases risk for disordered eating later in life. But anyway, for most of us, food indeed is love, comfort, and reward. So it should come as no surprise that many individuals end up turning to food when they are stressed, upset, anxious, or lonely, depressed, tired, bored. These feelings are normal to an extent. We all may unconsciously recognize the love of our mom in that slice of chocolate cake on the supermarket shelf. We may still reason as adults that we should get an ice cream because we really deserved it today, or that we should celebrate our promotion with a nice dinner at the restaurant. Our normal hunger and satiety signals are in competition with our reward system. When these emotions get to the point of disrupting a healthy eating behavior, however, they become disordered eating behaviors. One common pattern of disordered eating behavior is comfort eating. Comfort eating means eating not to satisfy hunger, but to find comfort, love, and reward in food. We may comfort eat when we are relaxing, maybe watching our favorite TV show after a long, tiring day. We may comfort eat just out of boredom because we don't have anything else to do. But mostly, comfort eaters eat to compensate feelings of sadness, loneliness, insecurity, inadequacy, inferiority, abandonment, incomprehension, or depression. Comfort eaters may recognize themselves in statements like, "I eat to forget," "I eat because I have nothing else to do," "Eating is the best thing in my life." Another pattern of disordered eating is stress eating or emotional eating. While comfort eaters eat when they are relaxed or bored and usually won't eat if they are busy doing something else, stress eaters do the exact opposite and tend to overeat when they are experiencing strong emotions or have repressed them during the day. They eat in response to stress when they are anxious, angry, nervous, worried, jealous, mentally exhausted. If there's food at hand, they may eat it without almost realizing it. There may be a biological rationale for stress eating, since eating can stimulate the release of neurotransmitters such as serotonin and natural opioids such as endorphins that result in a sense of pleasure, reward, calm, or euphoria, and so under stress, these people may turn to food as a calming drug. In a way, while comfort eaters expect food to give them pleasure, stress eaters expect food to give relief from distress. But that is not always true. For example, it is not infrequent that people on a weight loss diet, after failing to comply with the rule of their program, become so frustrated, distressed, and angry at themselves that they start to stress eat just because they want to punish themselves. As if they were to say to themselves, "Were you really such a failure that you couldn't resist the ice cream box? Here, go ahead and finish it. You only deserve to be a fat pig for the rest of your life." Some other individuals in such a situation may follow a different line of thought and think, "Well, I blew my diet anyway for today, so I might as well gorge and I'll get back on track tomorrow." But this may trigger another pattern of disordered eating, which is binge eating. Binge eating means eating an abnormal amount of food in a limited period of time, with a sense of lack of control over eating during the episode, as if the person just couldn't stop, and a marked sense of distress about the binging behavior itself. Signs of distress may be eating very fast, eating alone, or hiding, and feeling embarrassed, disgusted, guilty, or ashamed of the binging behavior. A particular kind of binge eating is the one triggered by a so-called food addiction, meaning the exposure to one particular food item or group of foods to which we just can't resist. It may be chocolate or bread or ice cream or anything else for that matter. There is debate about the use of the word addiction. Generally, there is no symptoms of withdrawal from food, at least not to the same extent of alcohol or drugs. However, there are two landmark signs. When it's there, we can't resist, and when we start eating it, we can't stop. Many individuals report being able to control their eating behavior almost always, except when they see or smell that particular food, in which case they just completely lose control. They can't resist, they are drawn to it, and they just have to eat it even if they are not hungry and they don't want to do it. And they feel guilty and defeated afterwards. And just like in binge eating, once they start eating a couple of chips, they just can't stop until they finish the whole bag. Or at least they have to grab a last large handful before forcing themselves to put the bag away, and then struggle with the impulse to get back to it. For other people, the struggle between the desire of eating something and the awareness that they should not turns into a sort of food obsession. These people report spending a lot of time thinking about food. They often see food as an enemy or an obstacle. A friend of mine once told me how she went for a job interview and a bowl of candies were on the desk of the interviewer. Her first reaction was trying to ignore them, but then the desire of getting one started dominating her thoughts so much, and the struggle between the impulse to get one and the decision not to give in just added to the frustration, to the point it got so distracting that she couldn't even focus on the job interview. Another disordered eating behavior is purging, which is any strategy aimed at eliminating unwanted calories, food, or alcohol. Typical purging behaviors are self-induced vomiting, use of laxatives, diuretics, enemas, or compulsive physical exercise. Obsessively calculating the calories burned during physical activities and trying to match them with previous excessive calories eaten can also be considered purging behavior. And although it's not dangerous in itself, it could very well progress to more unhealthy and compulsive purging strategies. Finally, we mention another quite common instance of disordered eating, which is called night eating syndrome. This is characterized by disruption of the circadian eating cycle. These individuals are not hungry in the morning, they skip breakfast, and their first meal is delayed of several hours until lunch, if not later. Then, they become more and more hungry as the day progresses until experiencing evening hyperphagia, that is, overeating, with more than 1/3 of daily food intake occurring after dinner. They may also wake up in the middle of the night and need to eat something to be able to fall asleep again. Just being hungry after dinner is not a sign of night eating syndrome. Our satiety systems are weaker in the evening, probably because the body anticipates the overnight fast. Normally, this just results in a late night snack, and that's perfectly normal eating behavior. So to summarize, our tendency to associate food with comfort, reward, or love can result in disordered eating behaviors whereby our eating is not driven by normal hunger or satiety mechanisms or even normal environmental influences such as exposure to a food we like. When disordered eating behaviors such as those we described in this video start to cluster together and lead to major disruptions of normal eating behavior, we say that we have moved from disordered eating behavior to eating disorders. These are full-blown pathological states such as anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa, which we will discuss in our next lesson.